Hey guys, welcome. Today's practice is going to focus on what I like to think about as the spaces between. So, really, how we transition from one pose to the next. Are we moving with intention? Are we being mindful? Are we really paying attention to what our bodies need to do in that space from one to the next, right? We can get really focused on the pose itself and aligning that and working within that, and that's wonderful. And I think just as important that we notice how we move from one thing to the next on our mat, but also off. So I would just say have a couple blocks and blanket handy if you like to use props like that throughout the practice. And we're going to start in child's pose. So come on back, big toes together, knees wide. Lengthen your arms out in front and settle your hips back towards your heels. And you can always place a blanket or a block underneath your forehead here to start if it feels like the mat's really far away from your head this morning. And then as you get settled in there, just tune your attention to your breath. Just take these first few breaths to slowly lengthen the breath out. Don't push it, don't force it. Think more about allowing it to deepen as you settle in. And then go ahead, take a full breath in, full breath out. And then as you inhale again, take a slight pause at the top of your inhale. And then exhale, release your breath. Take a little pause at the bottom. Doesn't have to be a long pause, just that moment in between. Right? Inhale, little pause, just notice the space at the top of the inhale. And then exhale, empty the air out. Little pause, note the space at the bottom of the exhale. Let's see if you can just start to settle into that rhythm. That's for these first few moments here. You might like it throughout the whole practice, but just even noticing here, and just starting to bring that attention to the spaces between. You can start to notice, are you in a hurry to get from one to the next? Right? What does your body feel like? What does your mind feel like in the space in between the inhale and the exhale? Good. Just take a couple more like that. And with your next inhale, slide forward, tabletop. Bring your knees in a little bit so they stack right under your hips. Move your hands right under your shoulders. Spread wide through your fingers. And then give a little grip with your fingertips so that you feel really supported from your hands all the way up to your shoulders. And then we'll move cat-cow here with your breath. If that little pause is helpful, right, you can keep it here. For some people, sometimes myself included, it feels like it can start to trigger a little bit of like anxiety, restlessness. So find the breath that works best for you. All right. So as you inhale, arch your back, look forward. And then as you exhale, round in, chin to chest, really arch through your back. Inhale, round your back. Nope, sorry, arch your back. I got them backwards today. Look forward. And then exhale, round your back, draw your chin into your chest. You really press down into your hands. May help to give a little bit more space in your shoulders. Okay, move with your breath. And you start to notice what your body does as you transition from one to the other. Sometimes we kind of think of this as one pose, but really it's just two that are most often linked together with breath. What has to engage, what has to soften as you move from one to the other. Right. This can be great whether you're new to yoga because I think it's so important to notice what's working. Can also be great if you've done this series of poses like 1,000 times and you can kind of tend to tune out and go on autopilot. Take one more full round. Let there be no hurry, no rush. And then come back to center neutral spine. Find a little lift through your belly for support. Walk your hands forward a couple of inches with that same root, that same connection through fingertips, and then press up and back, downward facing dog. Good. Root your hands down and forward, lengthen your hips up and back. And soften your chest towards your thighs. You might have a little bend in your knees here. That's fine. But root your heels towards your mat just so we start to get a little work through the back line of the body. And find that rhythm of your breath here. And then walk your feet in a few inches and take them out wide so they're towards the outer edges of your mat. And keep that connection through your right hand and bring your left hand across to your right leg. And that might be ankle or shin or thigh, wherever that works. That may even mean stepping your feet in a little bit closer or wider, right? Or keeping a bend in your knees. So many options here. Good. Root your right hand down and forward, and then start to twist underneath your right arm. And can you maintain that steady breath rhythm? Does a pause with your breath feel good here? Or does that feel like a little too much? Notice what feels right for you today. And pay attention as you unwind. Inhale, bring both hands back to center. And then exhale, bring your right hand over to your left leg. Good. Traction, your left hand down and forward, and then twist up underneath your left arm. And keep rooting your heels back. Keep your legs strong for support. And take a few breaths. Good. Pay attention in the transition. Inhale, unwind. What's your spine doing? And then exhale, stay. And go ahead, walk your hands really slowly, one hand print at a time, back to your feet at the back of your mat. You can keep your feet wide if that feels good, or bring them in more like hips width distance apart. Go ahead, grab opposite elbows, let your head hang. Again, knees bent or legs straight. See what works right now. Root through your feet. Let your head get heavy. I think it's not uncommon, especially when we've been practicing a long time and we feel like we know what's coming next in the sequence, or we're doing the same thing side to side, that we're often on to the next thing, right? The next pose in our mind already. So let yourself just really notice what your body does in the transition and where your mind is in the transition. And release your elbows. And then again, like little hand prints, feel the connection of each fingertip as you walk your hands forward again to this wide down dog. And then do the opposite now. Walk feet, one little footprint at a time. Feel the connection all the way forward to your hands at the front of your mat. This time, bring your hands to your hips, root through your feet, and with your inhale, come all the way up to standing. Exhale, bring your hands together at your heart. Good. Stand strong into your legs and your feet. Lift up through your chest. Take a full breath in. Big breath out. Inhale, reach both arms up. Feel the way arms move, shoulders move. And then exhale, hinge at your hips. Follow your breath down. Exhale, fold forward. Lift halfway, take a breath in. Root through your feet. Lengthen out through the top of your head. And exhale, fold. Plant your hands. Step back, high plank. And take a breath in. Really notice the transitions here through the sun salutations. And then exhale, bent knees or straight legs lower all the way down to your belly. Good. Press down through the tops of your feet. Right. Feel the strength of your back as you inhale, lift up into cobra. Exhale, lower down. Stretch back, down dog. Good. Take a couple of breaths. Right. Sun salutations, another place if we do them a lot. Easy to just go to what our body knows, that habitual pattern of it. Right? What moves you through the sequence? What's your body doing? What's your breath doing? And inhale to toes. Exhale, bend knees, look forward. Walk, step, or hop front of your mat. And lift halfway, inhale, lengthen your spine, root through your feet. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Let's do one more like that. Reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift. Good. Exhale, step back with the other foot. Sometimes we have a dominant one and just changing that turns our mind on. Plank pose. Breath in. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Good. Cobra pose, inhale. And then lower down. Right, think belly and hips to draw up and back, down dog. What activates to get you there? Take a couple of breaths. And stay rooted through your hands. Inhale, reach your left leg up and back, straight, strong leg. Exhale, step all the way through. And then turn your back heel down. Inhale, come all the way up, warrior two. Feel your body move through the transition. The little things we do over and over again. And then settle in. Find your stability in the pose as you hug your legs in. Take a deep bend into your front knee. And then open your chest towards the side of your mat, the long end of your mat, but keep your gaze forward. And find your breath rhythm here as we start to stay a little bit longer. With your next inhale, turn your front palm up. And then exhale, reverse warrior, reach up and back. Where does the pose create a little space through the transition? Can you stay low in the front knee and the bend of the front knee, even as you come up and back? Good. Inhale, come back to center, warrior two. And then as you exhale, interlace your hands behind you. Make that little bend in your elbows so you can start to work the heels of your hands together. And stay strong through your legs. Inhale, lift up through your chest, reach your knuckles down towards the ground. And then exhale, fold, left shoulder towards or inside left knee. Humble warrior. You can keep your thumbs right there at your sacrum or start to reach your knuckles up and over. And keep your heels hugging in towards center. Press down a little through the back foot, so that's doing some work on the back leg. And then press a little bit more through the pinky edge of your front foot, of your left foot. To help stabilize the outer line of the leg, keep the knee from falling in. And then just let your head get heavy. Take a couple of breaths. With your next exhale, release your hands. And then just slowly feel the transition. Walk your hands to the long end of your mat. Pivot your feet, wide-legged forward fold. You may need to make some little adjustments with your feet. How do you land in the pose? Take a breath in, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, hinge and fold. What happens as you start to deepen the forward fold? Strong legs, head heavy.
right? Sometimes we know what's coming, we're reluctant about the next pose. We might slow down getting there. Sometimes, which is probably more my intention, we're in a hurry to get from one thing to the next. I find that balanced place that feels measured, that moves with our breath. Good. Inhale, lift and lengthen halfway. Bring your hands to your hips, root through your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And then turn your right toes to the back of your mat, slide your left heel back an inch or two. And then even here, slowly bend the front knee. Feel what your legs are doing with the simple actions that get us into the pose. What's having to turn on to support your whole body? Bring your arms out wide. Squeeze your heels in. And then open your chest towards the long end of your mat. And that might feel like tacking your left shoulders, left ribs back a little. And then take just your gaze over your front fingertips. Let your shoulders soften away from your ears. And feel what your breath wants to do here. Is that pause at the top of the inhale, bottom of the exhale helpful for just reconnecting to that space in between? And if it works, great. If it doesn't, let it go. Next, inhale, turn your front palm up. Exhale, reverse, reach up and back. Right, so left hand lightly down your back leg or wrap around waist, crease of thigh. Stay low in your front knee. Reach your top arm up and back. Right, the simple movements especially, right? So as you inhale and come back, which feels like not a big movement, but what's working to get you there? Inhale back to warrior two. Right, and then exhale, release hands behind you, interlace. So take opposite finger on top. Take a little bend in your elbows and see if you can bring the heels of your hands towards one another. Good. Press down into your feet, lift your chest, inhale. And then fold, right shoulder towards or inside right knee, exhale. Right, thumbs stay right there or reach up and over, really just depending on mobility of shoulders. Good, hug legs in. Press down equally into both feet. And then just a little bit more pressure to the pinky edge of your right foot. Especially if it feels like the knee wants to track and fall in towards center with you. Great way to strengthen that outer line of the leg and the hip. Head heavy. Couple breaths. And next, exhale, release your hands. Pivot, walk your feet slowly, long end of your mat. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine. And then exhale, fold. Walk your hands to the front of your mat. Slowly, mindfully, step back, high plank. Take a breath in. And this time either lower all the way like we did before or lower halfway, chaturanga. Feel your elbows pointing straight back. Inhale, come through cobra or upward facing dog. Find this piece of the vinyasa that works for you. Right. From your belly, from your hips, reach up and back, down dog. Full breath in. Full breath out. Right. Walk hands back to feet again, but just slow little handprint steps. Can you feel each finger pad connect down to the ground as you move? Right, so that the transition is really intentional as much as the pose is. Hands to hips, root through feet. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Okay, go ahead, start with feet together. Find a focus point for your eyes. We're going to move through some balance, so that focus point that you choose may have to shift a little bit. Just find one within each pose. Okay, stand into your left foot, bring your right foot in for tree pose, vrikshasana. So you can do toes down for a little more support. You can do foot to shin or up above the knee to the thigh. Just be mindful that it's not right on the knee.
And then either hands to prayer or arms up overhead. Good. Find your steady gaze point. Root down through your left foot. And then just like we just did in those standing poses, press through the pinky edge of your right foot. Just feel what that does for the outer line of the leg here. Stay toned through your belly. And lift it and open through your chest. Just make sure you're breathing here. Balance poses can do that. Sometimes we're so focused on balance, we forget about breathing. Okay, we're going to move, transition from one balance to the next. And then again, just move mindfully, slowly, intentionally. Inhale, bring your right knee up. And as you exhale, take a step forward, middle of your mat, root through your right foot. Inhale, bend your left knee, reach back, Natarajasana dancer pose. And take hold inner or outer edge of the foot, see what works. Take a moment to land fully in the pose with your right foot. Hug your inner legs towards one another and tone through your belly. And then press hand and foot together. You can start to lift your thigh up behind you, and that might just be an inch. The thigh might lift a little higher as your chest comes forward. Steady gaze point. Steady breath. Okay, with intention, inhale, stand all the way up, bring your left leg up, right? Just that move, what's having to work in the legs. And then exhale, step your left foot forward. Inhale, right leg up. You can keep arms up overhead or sweep them back behind you, warrior three. Good, back leg strong, foot flexed. Roll your inner right thigh up. Right, keep the support through your belly. And hug your shoulder blades back to keep your chest open. Right, leg might be lifted only a few inches off the mat if that's where balance feels right, or body a little bit more parallel. And next, inhale, stand all the way up, bring your knee up. Exhale, feet down, hands to heart. Take a breath. Good. Inhale, sweep both arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Lift halfway, take a breath in. Exhale, fold, plant hands, step back, plank. Take a breath in and plank. And then with your exhale, hips up and back, down dog. Walk your hands, one slow handprint at a time. Again, back to your feet, come to the back of your mat. And bring your feet together, bring your hands to your hips. Right? Notice your body as you come all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands together at your heart. I think we just so often take for granted what our bodies can do. You probably notice more what they can't do or what's challenging, right? How the muscles are working together, the muscles and the bones and the whole structure to move our body through a series of poses. It's kind of incredible sometimes. Okay, stand into right foot and then left foot in Vrikshasana tree pose, right? So again, you can do toes down, shin, or upper inner thigh. Right, just above or below the knee joint, please. So you're not pressing the knee off to the side. Hands to heart or arms up. Steady gaze point can help with balance. Root through your right foot. And then press to the outer edge, the pinky edge of your left foot. Tone belly. And get a little light and open with your arms if they're lifted. Okay, through the walking balance transition, right, notice how your body arrives in each pose, what your mind does in transition. Inhale, left knee up. Exhale, step forward, middle of your mat. Inhale, bend your right knee, reach back, inner or outer edge of foot. Good. Hug your legs in, root through your left foot. And then press hand and foot into one another. Maybe the thigh lifts just an inch or so. Maybe you come a little bit more back leg up, torso forward. Find your comfort place. And keep your belly tone for support. Gaze steady. Good. Inhale, stand all the way up. Bring your right knee up, reach up. Exhale, step right foot forward. Inhale, left leg up, warrior three, arms up overhead, or sweep your arms back by your sides. Flex your left foot. Roll your inner thigh up to level out through your pelvis. Strong belly. Open chest. Smooth your breath. And inhale, stand all the way up, knee up. And then slowly, both feet down, hands to heart. Good work. Inhale, reach both arms up. And then exhale, hinge, fold forward. Feel the back body as you come into the forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Bring your hands somewhere for support. And then exhale, fold, plant your hands, step back, plank. Inhale here. Exhale, lower. So either come halfway or all the way. Upward facing dog or cobra pose. And then as you exhale, think from belly, from your navel. Stretch all the way up and back, downward facing dog. Good. Full breath in. Full breath out. And as you root through your hands, really slowly, inhale, reach your left leg up and back. Even the simple things, how does the leg lift? As you exhale, draw your knee towards your nose. Step your foot all the way through. This time, inhale, come all the way up, crescent lunge. And just take a moment to check your foundation, front knee over ankle. Right, nice long stance front to back. So you're up on the ball of your back foot. Root through your feet, lift up through your chest. Take a breath in. Right, transition, turn your back heel down, open out wide, warrior two. Right, simple, but a lot actually happening in the pose and the rotation of the hips. Inhale, straighten your front leg. Right, and then as you exhale, lengthen out the transition, really reach, reach, reach long through your side bodies. And then bring your left hand down, triangle pose, Trikonasana. It's always one of my favorite places for a block, a little bit more height. Good, hug heels in. And root down into your feet, roll your chest open. And spread out wide through your arms. Stack your right arm directly over your right shoulder. Okay, the next transition is going to be, right, one big step forward or one little step and then big step forward into half moon. Right, so we're going from this rooted standing pose to balance. So how do we make the transition smooth and controlled so that we land well as we arrive? Okay, bring your top hand to your hip, look down. Right, and so you're either going to take a little step in with your back foot and then come up, or come all the way forward one step as you walk your left hand forward underneath your shoulder. Right leg up. Roll your right hip open. And make both legs strong. You flex your feet and hug in muscle to bone. You can keep right hand to hip or right arm up. Full breath in. Right, and then the transition back. Slowly exhale, bend your front knee with control. Step your right leg all the way back, warrior two. Nice, inhale here. Exhale, circle your hands down to your mat. Step back, down dog. Take a breath. Okay, with intention, inhale slowly, right leg up. Exhale, step all the way through. Root your feet. With your inhale, bring your arms mindfully all the way up overhead. Hug your inner legs in. Press down into your feet, reach up. Inhale here. And then exhale slowly, right? So look at where hips are now. Turn and plant back heel, open hips towards the long end of your mat. Right? What seems like a simple transition and lots of rotation in the pelvis. Okay, next inhale, straighten front leg. And then exhale, reach, reach, reach. Can even take that little pause, feel. And then come down, Trikonasana triangle pose. You can also do hand to shin. Grab your block if that feels good. Hug heels in. Root down, open chest. And then thinking about the transition, how can you move slowly with intention? Does one step or two feel more supportive to arrive? Right, and as you set up the legs, the right hand also needs to walk forward. So much happening as we move one to the next. Left hand to your hip, look down. Right, now you take one little step in and then come up, or one big step forward and walk right hand forward underneath your shoulder. Roll your left hip open, flex your back foot, root down through your right foot. Left hand to hip, or reach your arm up. Right? And so many little decisions that we make along the way. And sometimes it just seems like a simple transition from one to the next, but a lot going on. Okay, full breath in. And then exhale, bend your front knee. With control, step your left foot all the way back, warrior two. Nice. Inhale here. And then exhale, circle your hands down front of your mat. Step back, down dog. Okay, from down dog, again, those nice intentional handprints as you walk hands back to feet, back of your mat. Bring your feet together, hands to your hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Okay, one more series of the walking balance poses. Right, again, with that intention of being mindful in the transition, especially as we're trying to land in balance from one to the next. Okay, when we lose attention, balance poses are really good at letting us know that the attention has gone away. Okay, take a breath in. And then exhale, bend your knees, sit back, chair pose. Bring your weight to your left foot, and then right ankle, left knee, figure four. And you can keep hands to heart or reach arms up. See what feels better for your body today. Right. Feel where your hips are level off through your pelvis, just so the right knee isn't dropping way off to the side. And then sit low into your left heel. Okay, inhale, stand all the way up, bring your right knee up. And then step forward, exhale. Inhale, left knee up. And then as you exhale, bend your right knee. And this time come all the way across, knee on top of knee, eagle pose. Right, toes down, if that feels good for support. Shins parallel, or wrap left toes behind. Inhale, bring arms out wide. And then exhale, wrap left arm underneath right. And you can do hands to shoulders or take the double wrap. Good. Hug your legs in. Settle your hips down as you lift your elbows. Good. Inhale, unwind, stand up, left knee up. Exhale, step forward, plant through your left foot. And then inhale, right leg up, warrior three again. So either hands forward up overhead or arms back by your sides. Root through your left foot. And drop your outer right hip down, especially if it feels like that side's lifted. Good. Inhale, stand all the way up, knee up. And then both feet down, root feet, hands to heart. Good. Reach up, inhale. Fold forward, exhale. Halfway lift, take a breath in. Exhale, fold, step back, plank, right? Maybe alternating in the foot that you're stepping back with. Inhale here, and then exhale, down dog. Walk your hands, rooting fingertips back to feet. I'd love to feel what that does for shoulders. Bring feet together, hands to hips. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, hands together at your heart. Okay, last one. Bend your knees, sit back, chair. And then bring your weight to your right foot, left ankle, right knee, figure four. Good. Hands to prayer or arms reach. Settle back into your right heel. Flex your right foot. And just feel where the left knee is. I just think that's one of the most common things here is the knee wants to drop to the side. If it feels like that, just lift a little from the outer knee. And stay rooted through your foot. Keep your gaze steady and take that with you through the transition. Where's the gaze to help with balance? Inhale, stand up, knee up. Exhale, step forward, middle of your mat. Inhale, right knee up. Exhale, bend your left knee. Stack knee on top of knee, eagle. Good. Arms out wide. Wrap right arm under left. Right. Or hands to shoulders. Once again, toes can be a kickstand. Shins parallel with your foot floating. Right. Or you can start to work that wrap of your right toes behind your left ankle or left calf. If that sounds like, it's not happening, don't do it. Inhale, stand all the way up, knee up. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, left leg up, hinge your upper body forward. Right, reach arms up overhead or swing them back by your sides. Root your right foot. Level off through your hips. Find steady gaze, steady breath. Good. Inhale, stand all the way up, knee up. Exhale, both feet down, hands to heart. Take a breath. Enjoy the space between. Sometimes it's the completion of the pose that we can take a moment to enjoy, even more so than the transitions. Inhale, both arms up. Exhale, follow your breath. Take that full length of your breath to fold forward. Lift halfway, inhale. Fold, exhale, hands down, step back, plank. Right, through one last vinyasa if that would feel good, or right to down dog. Right, so chaturanga or all the way down. Find your back bend. And back to down dog. Full breath in. And then exhale, child's pose. Big toes together, knees wide. Settle hips down. Take a couple of breaths. And then walk your hands back. Shift your hips off to the side. And then just swing your legs all the way around in front. Come down onto your back. And once you get there, bring your knees in. You can take a little rock side to side or make some circles with knees and hips. And keep your right knee in, stretch your left leg long. Flex both feet. And pause here. right? Allow the setup, the transition into the pose, help to give you a little bit more space. You help to find the place where your body feels most comfortable. And then really slowly bring your right knee over to your left to twist. You might notice what your spine does, what your torso does, where your hips go. So many things to pay attention to. Bring your right arm out to the side. Good. You can look up or look out over your right hand. Check to see what feels better for your neck. Keep your legs active. And roll your outer right hip away from your right shoulder. Just create a little bit more space along your side body. And take a few breaths there. And with your next inhale, unwind, come back to center. Bring both knees into your chest. And then switch sides, right leg long, left knee in, pause. And consider this the transition between the space to strengthen legs. Hug your left thigh in towards your ribs. Take a breath in. And move slowly as you exhale. Twist, left knee to your right. So interesting to notice too, sometimes different ranges of motion side to side, which I think the slower we enter a pose, the more we can pay attention to that, right? Listening to what feels right in our body as we go. It's probably, say, not uncommon or more common that the places that we get hurt in yoga, if that happens, are in the transitions, right? We finished the pose, quote unquote, and then kind of have this like letting go of what body and mind are doing as we make the transition to the next, right? Maybe we're not as supportive with the muscles, we've let go of the alignment. And so that's pretty commonly where injury can happen. Well, I shouldn't say commonly where. If you get injured, it's more likely that it happens there than within the pose. Doesn't mean that yoga injuries are common. Okay, use your inhale, unwind. Bring both knees back in, give them a little squeeze to center. And then go ahead and bring both feet down to your mat, knees bent, set up for bridge pose. Right, feet hip width apart, walk your heels in towards your sitting bones. Bring your arms along by your sides and turn your palms down. Right, so we're going to take a rolling bridge with the breath to start with. So that same thing, just noticing how your body moves into the shape of the back bend, what has to contract, and then what has to release a little to allow that to happen. So take a full breath out, let the back of your head and your shoulders settle. And then as you inhale, press into your heels slowly. Lift your hips up, bridge pose. Doesn't have to be super high. And then exhale, think one vertebra at a time as you lower back down. Good, take a couple like that with breath. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower. It might even help to close eyes or soften gaze. Keep the attention moving in. Inhale, float hips. Exhale, lower. Good. One more, float hips. Inhale. This time, pause. Press down through your heels, traction them back towards your shoulders. Lift your chest towards your chin. Full breath in. And then exhale, lower all the way down. Take your feet out a little wider. Let your knees rest together. Take a couple of breaths. And then we'll move into Shavasana. So if this feels like a good option for your low back for Shavasana, stay here. You can stretch your legs long. You can place support under your knees. Hands by your sides, or even hands to belly if that feels comforting. Close your eyes. I think of this sometimes as the transition from the active, engaged part of our practice to the rest. How does your body settle in? I think, like most things on our yoga mat, the way that we approach it on our mat mirrors the way that we approach it off our mat. It always reminds me of something a teacher of mine once said that has always stuck with me. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. The way you do anything is the way you do everything. And so as you move through transitions off of your mat, you're mindful of what's happening. We're going to rush from one thing to the next. Are you reluctant in moving from one thing to the next? What do the transitions in your practice teach you about how you move through that during the rest of the day? If you have longer you want to stay, please stay. You're ready to come out, take some fuller breaths. And with your next inhale, take a full stretch, reach your arms up overhead, lengthen out through legs. And then draw your knees in towards your chest, roll to your side. Pause. Give yourself a couple of breaths in that transition, in the space between your practice and the rest of your day. You can take this mindfulness with you. And when you're ready, come all the way up. Bring your hands together at your heart. Sit tall, lift heart to hands. Bow in, head to heart. Thank you so much for sharing the practice, the spaces between. Namaste.